Code monkey, get up, get coffee. Code monkey, go to job. Code monkey, have boring meeting with boring manager Rob. Rob say code monkey very diligent, but his output stink. His code not functional or elegant. What do code monkey think? Code monkey think maybe manager wanna write login page himself. Code monkey not say it out loud. Code monkey not crazy, just proud. Code monkey like Fritos. Code monkey like Tab and Mountain Dew. Code monkey very simple man. Big warm fuzzy secret heart. Code monkey like you. Code monkey like you.
What's new, Dino Dudes? It's me, the Media Raptor. Dark Phoenix. I wasn't expecting much from this movie, and I was still kind of disappointed, to be honest. The main reason why, and this is going to be a very short review because I don't have much to say about this movie. The main reason why is this doesn't feel like the big cinematic finale to 20th Century Fox's X-Men franchise. It feels more like they went, you know what, screw it, we have the rights for one more movie, we have one left in the tank, dang it, we're gonna make this movie, and who cares if it's good or bad. And it really shows. Not only with the writing, because now this timeline is even more confusing, because technically this movie, if this movie happened before X-Men 1, 2, and 3, those three movies will now not have happened. Which then means Days of Future Past will not have happened. Furthermore, does nobody remember that Apocalypse happened? Because they never once even reference it by going like, hey, remember that thing in Egypt? That was weird. I bring that up, not every movie has to have references to other movies. I only bring it up because this whole movie is about Jean Grey's Phoenix powers, which literally was the crux in the last movie with how they defeated Apocalypse, was the Phoenix powers. And this movie's kind of going, yeah, she didn't really have those until now. She was just a telepath. So does that mean that she got the powers now and Apocalypse is still coming? Because if so, spoiler alert, Mystique is dead. And she was definitely in the last one. That's not much of a spoiler though, considering the fact they put it in the trailer for some reason. Like, this whole movie just screams whatever. Including the characters, which sucks because we've really gotten to know these characters over the past movies. Throughout First Class, Days of Future Past, Apocalypse. These new First Class mutants, or these reboot mutants, I like them a lot. I love what they did with Charles Xavier, and yet in this movie they make him so unlikable. It's not the acting is still great from everyone, but the writing makes him just such an egotistical jerk, and not like he's gonna learn something, or this was just a one-time mistake. He just seems more malicious than anything, and it really ruins his character. I'm honestly thankful this is the last movie that the X-Men movie that Fox is gonna make, because if they keep making them like this, they're gonna have to reboot the whole franchise again! Oddly though, this movie could have been great if they had just stuck with what they began doing, with Charles Xavier raising Jean Grey, helping her overcome her powers, and then boom, the Phoenix comes later. That was a really cool idea. Speaking of the Phoenix powers, the villains in this movie suck, as they're given no personality, no backstory, well, very little backstory. Don't really pose a threat, and they're not interesting. The best thing that this movie has going for it is the fact that we aren't dealing with the whole human-mutant bigotry as usual. There's a little bit of it, but at least it's somewhat justified this time. But at least they went, yeah, you know what, we like the mutants this time. We're actually decent, you know, we're okay with them. Thank you for finally doing that and not wasting another movie talking about it. But as I mentioned, the acting is really good. It's all the same actors from the past movies, and they're doing a pretty decent job. My biggest complaint is the fact that Quicksilver didn't get more screen time. However, they did give Nightcrawler a lot more personality, and I really like what they did with him. He actually had a pretty interesting character arc. Special effects are very much a mixed bag. On the one hand, the CG is actually very good, which is what you would expect from a Marvel movie, and the X-Men movies for the most part, have always had pretty decent CGI. This is no exception. The Phoenix is beautiful. In fact, there are a number of shots in this movie that are just gorgeous to look at. Using a mixture of CGI and different camera tactics, they really do shoot a good movie. The issue is they don't have a good script to go with that movie. And when the CGI gets bad, in a few shots, it's very noticeable. Namely, when Eric is picking up a bunch of guns, I was questioning, why didn't they just, hang them or something like that? They tried to CG a bunch of them, and I understand why they did, but believe me, it does not look that good. The biggest issue I have with the special effects is the makeup on Mystique. This doesn't look like movie-quality makeup. It looks like just a Mystique cosplayer walked onto set and they went, "Hey, you're hired, get over here, Jennifer Lawrence didn't want to be in this." I don't know if it was just a lower budget, or it's just the fact that this movie really didn't seem to care as much as the others, but it just looks bad. But like I mentioned, there is some good stuff though. When the movie does get to some of the action, it is actually very interesting. There's a very good dynamic between humans and the X-Men. The plot, for certain parts, is actually kind of interesting. But the actual Phoenix plot makes no sense when you actually think about it. The villains are incredibly boring and one-note. There really isn't much memorable in this movie aside from the ending with an awesome train fight. Then again, I'm a sucker for fights on trains because they're always creative and unique, and this was certainly no exception. But yeah, really, the train fight, the acting, and the camera work are the best things about this movie. So in the end, I can recommend Dark Phoenix if you have seen all the other X-Men movies. That's the only reason I really saw it, but I really wasn't that interested in seeing it in the first place. Overall, I'm giving it 1.5 Raptor claws out of 4. It's not the worst X-Men movie ever. I actually think the first one might be, just in terms of plot, action and all that. It's still a very good movie, but this one, it just feels rushed. It just feels forced, and it doesn't feel like a product of love like the others. Like I said, this one just feels like they made it because they knew they were going to lose the license, like Hellraiser Judgment. So yeah, if you have seen the other X-Men movies, you'll probably check it out at some point. If you haven't, go watch the other X-Men movies. Go watch The Wolverine. That is still my favorite X-Men movie, with Logan being a close second, or maybe the first. Haven't seen Logan in a bit, I need to rewatch it. But yeah, I'm gonna go watch The Wolverine again. I pulled it off my shelf so I could look at it while I was talking about it, and I forgot where I put it, and I only have 1 minute left on my camera battery, so with all that being said, until next time, this has been the Media Raptor saying keep cool, and I'll see all you dino dudes around. Sink. Hang on. There we go. Actually, credit where credit is due, they did not have a Wolverine cameo in here. Good for you for not shoving him into a movie. Not that I'm complaining about Hugh Jackman's character, it just, they didn't feel the need to shove him in here. Although maybe they should have, it might have helped the movie.